Okay, hello everybody. We are here with Steel Division. I've had great difficulty in actually recording this game. Me and a friend and I recorded a few battles the other day, but yeah, Shadowplay isn't entirely working right, and we recorded 3 battles with no sound. That kind of defeats the entire purpose, and I am not going to be putting up videos without any sound, so here we go again. This is a replay of a battle. I hadn't actually anticipated recording this one anyway, but some interesting stuff happened in it. I'm somewhere. Ah, here I am. I'm over here. As usual, I deploy rather late because I want to see where everybody's going to be. So we are most of the way through the deployment phase, and I don't even see any of my stuff on the map. But I end up over here. Where's my army? Is this replay broken? Where's my army? Ah, there we go. Start showing up. Right there. Yeah. 2 minutes in. Almost 3 minutes in. I start deploying. And I get all that stuff on really quick. So to my left is... starts with a V. Or does it? I can't actually see his name. Starts with a P, actually. So it's Permanent 666. And to my right is a guy that never actually comes into my area anyway, by the name of Dr. Fresh 2K. But mostly, I'm pretty much just on my own. These are just the guys to my left and right. But this guy, Helibad, or Helmid, okay, Helmid, ends up focusing most of his effort on the guy to my left for a lot of the game. And I end up just kind of moving up. And my objective was to get my anti-tank guns into either this wood line, well, it was actually get into this wood line here, and these trees, and just cover this area. And so I deploy and put into position. And this guy advances down this way and engages my ally on my left here. This is a big 10v10 where much of the map isn't all that relevant to what I'm doing. This guy's just telling him to push as deep as he can, because there's nothing, we can tell there's nothing here. There's stuff here, and we know there's stuff here because it's pushing the terrain all the way back down. And there isn't much here because we're pushing into there and so on, and since there's nothing here, they're pushing into here. But actually there were roads. They could have taken advantage of that, and they could have easily taken advantage of this, but they didn't. And the same thing here. Pause it for a second. We go to my view. Hooray for 10v10s. Where am I? There we go. There. I know there's nothing here because of how far my radius of influence is going in. I know there's stuff here because of the way it's pushing over to here and how close the border is to my unit and my friend's unit over there. Much like here, there's nothing much up here, but I know there's stuff there, and I can just tell by where the way the front line is being pushed, I can tell where everything is. Let's go back to neutral. And then bring that back up. And as you can see, there's nothing here, so they're pushing in far. There's a bit of stuff here, so we're not pushing in that far. And as I said, there is nothing here, so we have this giant bulge. And since there's nothing over here, I have a giant bulge there. And since there's nothing there, we have a giant bulge there. But because we have nothing here, they're kind of bulging through. And this is going to be an example of how important command units are as well. We'll speed it up twice as fast. We've got a fight going on here, which just has a bunch of napalms, because this guy brought Nebelwerfers in. And Phase A. 3 of them. Which is a pretty good idea. Gets 3 Nebula Warfers in, sets everything on fire. Does severe damage to this guy. Viger. And even though he doesn't have all that much there on that front line, he doesn't have much to fear because everything's running away, and a lot of it's actually dead. This is still wide open, and he's not taking all that much advantage of it. I've already advanced from my planned position here. My troops are advancing from these woods up to this area. I got my mortars here, and I have my machine guns pushing out that way, and I got an anti-tank gun there, which immediately kills that motorcycle. And I've got my recon moving up to scout to see what's up here. And they're still pushing in here. I guess this guy, my ally here, is using these to push it back, but like recon, dedicated anti-tank teams can't have any influence on that line. And we still have this giant gap here. Now, Helmid decides to have some infantry kind of venture this way. But much of the fight that he's doing is over here. He's got these MG42s causing this giant salient in between me and my guy to my left. I still got my anti-tank gun there. Boom! Goodbye, infantry. And it'll get the Kubel shortly enough. And around, they're still fighting the town, but this stuff is actually a good use of Nebula Warfers in the start. He's got a 25-pounder and like no infantry left. But there's still this giant gap, and this guy's really not pushing it. Now there's some stuff here from Ringo? And this guy's fighting very hard on the left. He's got a few players against him. I say that, and it's all one guy with really cheap units. Meanwhile, this guy is fighting 2 people and is not apparently all that aware of it. He's got his stuff there. This guy here is smoking that, so you can get the infantry in close to the MG42. My scouts have been found and are being killed by Ostrupen and 2 Flame Warfer dudes. Oh, 1 Flame Warfer dude with 2 people in it. And he's got his command unit. Helamid has his command unit all the way up front like this. And it's run into a Pack 75, the captured pack that the British Airborne get. Transmission damage is now falling back, and the infantry are moving in. And it's dead. So now Helmid has no command unit here now. And I'm still pushing my scouts up forward. I'm a little bit concerned about this guy, the Flame War and the Ostrupen. But yeah, he's mostly focusing his efforts here against Permanent. I'll remember his name eventually. He's focusing most of his efforts against Permanent. Kind of like leaving me mostly to myself. And I'm also trying to support Permanent with my own mortar battery over here, the 107s, shooting the MG42 that's over there. Not quite in time. And people are calling for the balance. Another thing I'm going to pause about. People are calling for balance for the balance patch, but I don't actually think the game's all that unbalanced, except for a few annoying things. Because yeah, the Königstigr is annoying to fight, but if we had our equivalent to these things, because this plane has, if I'm correct, it's got, oh, this one's got the 75mm cannon. And then there's another plane, the Ju-37, which has the 37mm anti-tank cannon that's on it. They're both very good. But the Allies had these too. They had their own equivalents. And I'm going to mute that phone. In fact, I'm going to do it right now, because this is getting to be really annoying. There we go. But yeah, we had like the Hurricane with two of the 2-pounders, the British 2-pounder, the 40mm anti-tank gun. Two of them strapped, one to each wing in gun pods. That would be nice to have against the Königstigr. But, like, the balance could be solved by just adding those in. So we actually have aircraft that can kill tanks. And we have the Thunderbolt with rockets, but that rocket doesn't actually have any anti-tank capability. So if that was actually given a heat round, as opposed to the high explosive round it currently carries, I don't care if the high explosive round is a 37 HE power. I don't care. Because it doesn't do anything to tanks unless you use like 3 of them. Because I've killed Königstigers with it before. By taking 3 of these stupid things and nailing it in the side and hoping enough rockets hit. It's a bit of a 50-50 crapshoot, but it can do it. And that gets really annoying. We need actual aircraft, because the Americans had a plane with a 75mm gun in the nose. We had one in World War II. And the British have their Hurricane with the 2 40mm. We need those. That alone would balance it out. But yeah, whatever. My tirad's over. Moving on. So I try to support my ally here with my mortars from the side. It doesn't really work perfectly. But it does work, kind of. And my little Jeep 30 cal here finds these guys, the Ostrupen and the Flame Morphers. So my mortar fire gets redirected to these guys. Because I need to take care of that. And my recon continues to move up, as I'm finding out that there's nothing there. So, I begin building up a force. And staging it to my rear. And this will be fun. So yeah, I'm still mortaring there. I'm not actually aware that these guys are dead yet. But they are. I just don't know it. And I have this 1919 medium machine gun coming up to try to take care of what's ever in the woods. Because I didn't actually see what type of units they were. I just knew there was enemy in there. I knew there was a flamethrower troop too. My ally here is doing rather well still. Moving up against Helmid. And I'm taking out Helmid's napalm troops there. The machine gun did its job and survived the flamethrower. Hooray! And now, realizing that there's nothing here... Convoy. Who kind of stage up here for a moment. Because meanwhile, this guy's not really taking advantage of the gap that he knows exists. I see this gap, and that there's nothing in front of me. I have this giant area here where there's nothing in front of me. So I have this giant force, and I'm going to push it. In this rather... Really honestly looking at it now, that's a wonky-ass convoy. But it's going in. And it's mostly infantry, because this is an urban center. And Helamid isn't really paying attention all that much to me. Because he's fighting with Permanent down here. And he's being hit pretty hard by Permanent. So all of his reinforcements are going over to this front line there. As I go racing in. I think I got a couple more units. Yeah, I've got some more infantry coming in, and I've got some Jeep 50 cals coming in. So I go racing into the city. And he's not paying attention whatsoever, because he's too focused here. Yeah, this is fun. And it's going to show exactly what happens when you don't have a commander. And this guy's really running out there. Transmission's damaged, Ostrupen are not doing a particularly good job. And there goes that command unit. But this is a slow fight. And this guy's bringing in a lot of recon. I'm still pretty sure he's not paying attention to what I'm doing. As I have my guys all deploying to this town here. And I've got a bunch more guys coming up who will deploy in various positions as well. And so I set myself up in this block of apartment buildings. Kind of moving my commander around and putting my rifles over there. Some cheap units, yeah, but they'll do it. So now I've got this giant sailing. And it puts us ahead by 1. And oh boy, does it get interesting. Because notice, Helamid has no command unit still. I have a command unit over here. Helamid has none. And this guy is asking for help, even though in reality there's nothing in there. And it's amazing that this guy did not take advantage of this giant gap. Because he could have, and frankly he should have. That's a big gun. These things are useful. I'm amazed it didn't kill the Staghound. So yeah, Helamid is still not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I could have actually moved these guys up too. Looking at that in retrospect, it's something I'm going to be doing in the future, is moving up these guys as well. Because these guys end up staying back here. Many of them stay back here as like a secondary fallback line. But I could have certainly moved them up as a secondary fallback line to this tree line here without much difficulty, and I would have been able to get flanking fire onto these guys. But I didn't. 2020 hindsight. And so the fighting continues over here for quite some time. Nothing really much happening over there. The left side's a bit thin. And this guy here, wow. What's his name? Can't it? Oh, Sunyan. Okay, yeah. He pops up. Mark, this is nuts because of how deep the penetration was. And there's a lot of fighting here, but it's pretty stalemated. So I start to realize I can cut these guys off. And it kind of starts to cut them off, and then it pulls back again because my Jeep's going off in this direction, and my other Jeep's going that way. Because I kind of want to cut off the reinforcement points, and I cut this one here off, but I don't cut that one off. If I had managed to cut these reinforcement points off, they would have been forced to bring reinforcements from over there, as they would have not been able to get them from over here, as there is no bridge, unless they try to force their way through this bridge. So, not being able to cut this thing off really costs me. Really costs me, because I could have done so much more if I'd managed to cut that off. Granted, they still would have been able to bring in planes. That would not have been stopped, because the planes aren't stopped by that. So yeah, he's pushing my ally back. And I'm a bit too busy deploying stuff over there in the rear. And he's got a new batch of reinforcements coming up. And this is probably the first point that he realizes anything is wrong. Because I cut these reinforcements off. I've got my Ranger support units here. Now the Grenadiers are cut off here by one single Ranger support unit. And the pocket closes. And it slowly just starts getting enveloped as there is no command unit in here. They count as cut off. And this starts to give us points, because it's giving us map. And I have these guys being held up, and he's probably going like, where's my reinforcements? Actually, at this point, I could have moved my Jeep over to there. Now that I actually know where the reinforcement point is, and cut off his ability to get reinforcements unless it was from over here. Oh, that would have been brilliant, but no, I didn't do that. So I've got all this stuff pinned down now. He's got a Nebula Warfare over there. My Ranger support guys are just pinning down all these Grenadiers as they try to assault through, as they take losses. And the map slowly constricts. And now all of these guys are behind enemy lines, which means they're all suffering penalties to their fighting. As we now have this entire area, because I cut them off. And since there's no command unit, these guys no longer exert force on the border, on the front line. So they're all fighting at a penalty. Which is brilliant. And I'm cutting off this guy's reinforcements, so he can't get out there. And I've got more troops coming in to help hold these guys off. And my Jeep is there causing trouble for everything. There's a Nebula Werfer there still, the Nebula Werfer there. And I've got my command unit coming in to start flanking these guys too. Oh, nope, they've got them pinned down from the Stug now. They're trying to figure out what to do about what I have. And... whoops, that's the last mark. Because I marked down there, they're cut off for my ally to start pushing them. I should have pushed them from this side and surrounded them, but we didn't. So now the first guy comes to help him. There's actually, I think, 2. Nope, just 1 right now. So Evo Lupo shows up to try to help. As I've got... oh, there's a couple of other people here too. So Helmid's there with his stuff. This other guy, Erleon, has shown up. And so has Evo Lupo. So I've attracted the attention of 3 people over here. I keep that thing pushing back. I dodge my command unit out of the worst of the bombing, but I could have probably just kept him in the building. And we take out the Nebula Werfer, and I've got my guys moving up. They kind of make it. Get into the building, get into the building. Yes, yes, yes. Still got these guys pinned. This guy, Helamid, has got more reinforcements, and Evolup is moving forward. And I've now got Sun Yan here as well, as I'm attracting 4 players to this area off of other areas of the map. So I've got them multitasking between their respective areas of the front, wherever that might be. That is fucking good recon. That is good recon. Right in the middle of the enemy's artillery and everything. Sees everything. Who is this? Ringo. Oh, that is clever. Where is your thing? There it is. It's at the top. So Ringo's scouts get to see all of this. That is clever. Getting the scouts up that far ahead. Go, Ringo. Good job. Good on you. But yeah, so I've got Helamid, Oleon, or however it's pronounced, Sun Yan, and Evolupo. I've got 4 people countering my push this deep into their territory. And these guys are all still cut off. And he's moved around the flank. My ally there, Permanent, has moved around the flank there. We've effectively got these guys all surrounded. And my M3 scout's got that thing pushed, pinned down. And he's trying to advance now. Which is just pulling his army further away from his reinforcements. And he's used his Nebula Werfer. Aha! Not sure on what. Oh, probably on those buildings there. Notice all those grenadiers are dead. Haha. So I just killed a bunch of really effective units. I've made this guy expend almost all of his high explosive ammunition. So he's not going to have a cannon to lend support with anymore. And here comes the 5th person. Who is this? Her Kempf, or her Cormano, is now showing up as well. As I've got 5 people trying to push my position back here. I'm not sure if my command unit kills this thing. It's been a few days since I played this. And he comes around the corner. Yeah, he gets to live. At least from that perspective. I should have moved this a little bit, but I was probably busy bringing up all these reinforcements. I got some anti-tank guys coming up, some tanks. I should have pushed all these guys forward. I'm going to have to remember to do that in the future. But they're now trying to re-establish contact. I think Helamid gets some units through, but they don't really manage to re-establish contact all that well. And here's this Panther IV going through, and Her has a bunch of stuff there. Evo is still moving up. Sun Yen is moving up. Eva Lupo is still moving up. And my poor M4DD dies here. But my M4s show up. And I start killing these things as they're trying to push the front line over to reestablish contact. And my M4 Shermans just kind of show up and put an end to that. And look at all this stuff that Helamid's bringing in. And we still have some pioneers that are moving in. But that's fine. My assault engineers with the flamethrowers force the Stug to pull back where my M4s can kill it. Oh, my command unit just fucking dies. Oops. Yeah, he just died. Look at all the stuff that Helamid's bringing in. So much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units of reinforcements coming in to try to push me out of the town. I don't have that much there still. So my napalm guys will start moving up to counter some of these other people I know are moving in. But my guys here are getting cut off. And shortly, very momentarily, the circle closes. But notice, while it gets pushed back, they never get fully enveloped. And you suck. Freaking 3-star, and all you can do is break the tracks, and then break the tracks again, and then you die. Great. This thing was the bane of my existence for so long because of that. He never died. But notice, they never end up being behind enemy lines, because the command unit here still allows them to push, to exert influence on the front line. And they form a pocket. And they still fight at 100% effectiveness. And I try to use these 2 Shermans to try to stun this thing so I can kill it. But, well, he fires 1 shot that kills the commander. And now this is a no-star Sherman. And he killed the 2-star Sherman. So now this no-star Sherman can't shoot worth a damn. And he's dead. He'll be dead very momentarily. Boop. So now there's a Panzer IV, which whenever I use this thing, he sucks balls and sucks at life. But when the enemy uses him, of course, he's the most badass Panzer IV that will ever exist. But Helamid has discovered my pocket here, and he's moving troops down through the town. Of course, they're all these militia that are all broken-hearted, so they're not going to do very well. And Helamid still tries to reestablish contact through here to get his forces over there back into contact. And I think all it gets him in the end is these guys are also now cut off. So her commando has just quit. In fact, another guy might have quit. So these guys are pissed off that I'm here. And now the AI takes control. See, AI just drives through and dies. Right into the napalm throwers. The Grenadiers get slaughtered and surrender. And now all these disheartened militia are pinned down by my rifles and Ranger support. Turn that down a little bit. And here comes this thing here. I don't actually have a way to kill it. My guys are taking out the pioneers and slowing their advance through town out. They just used a F-190 G1 to drop a big bomb there, so now my guys are pinned. I'm just taking out the flame werfers. 50 cal Jeep really did not last long. And they're trying to do various assaults on my position here. And my guys come back because they're not fighting at much of a penalty, because they're not fighting at a penalty at all because they're within range of the commander. These guys here were suffering all sorts of penalties, but they do reestablish connection for the moment with all their guys there. They don't quite manage to cut my ally off here. Ooh, yay, beating that thing up. That's dead, and thanks to my little M4A1 Rhino, they're cut off again. And Helmid is trying desperately to reopen contact. And so these guys, because one of them quit, the assault isn't going very well for them. My assault guys have shown up and are pinning them down, forcing them to surrender. These guys are pinned down. I'm trying to take out the Panzer 35 because I can use the flamethrowers to stun it, and then they can force it to surrender that way. So now he's falling back, and any moment now, he surrenders, and now I use the flamethrowers to push back the Pioneers. And these guys are still fighting in the town. Much of the reinforcements that were attacking the town have now been wiped out. Most of the units there. So Helmid's bringing more. He's got his Stug 3G. My flame troops set themselves on fire. And there's a guy that's bombing all my men. So yeah, the fight's ongoing. And this goes on for a while. I don't have a supply truck out there, so they're out of ammunition. What are they out of ammunition with? Yeah, their machine gun's out of ammunition, the bar's out. I believe you guys are out of ammunition for the Garands. You guys are out of low on ammunition for the bar. You've only got one magazine left. Basically. And then my guy here, the Rhino's shown up and is taking out the Nebelwerfer. Dies to the Stug in the end, unfortunately. And these recon snipers are doing one hell of a job. But because I managed to get so much of the map, we're at a +1. And these guys, and they were pushed back on the other part of the map over here a little bit, back towards the town. And I've got the attention of like 4 people, one of whom has quit now, so I go to move my Ranger assaults down to here to take care of the Panzer Grenadiers and the rest of these guys, and to try to cover these rifles, because they're not doing particularly great. So, flame those guys, the Ostrupen are pinned, the rifles are pinned, and the Panzer Grenadiers will be pinned momentarily. They surrender, and those guys die. So the Stug's moving in, and the Guerrilla's shown up. And another bomb comes in. Boom! As the ranks are thinning. And this guy's an annoying twat. I wanted to get the 76mm gun I have into position, but it just really wasn't working. There's the Panzer IV there. And it takes out my guy. Oh, it bounces. And here they come. So I'm basically down to the Ranger Assault, the command unit with 2 guys, rifles with 2 guys, and a rifles with 12. But I still have a pocket, because it's a commander, and not a bunch of unled units. The key thing of having commanders with your force is not only does it give you stars, and protecting that commander is also important, because not only does it give your guys experience and makes them more effective, you can have pockets. And your guys can keep fighting without penalty, even behind enemy lines. And like, here comes Remus, and here comes... Oh, here's the 5th guy. As the 5th guy shows up to try to push me out of the rear area. These guys are now falling back with the Pioneers. My Ranger assaults are running desperately low on fuel and ammo. I should have... Yep, here's my next wave of reinforcements. With another T-30 HMC, some more M4A1s, a Jeep with some guys, and my mortars are... I'm either trying to hit the Pioneer or I'm trying to hit the Panzer IV-H. Oh, look! And the M4DD will die. Oh, hi, Panzer IV-H! Pick your poison! You're dead! Bazooka teams and towns. Always handy. The Rhino's shooting at something, probably over there, so he will miss the Stug coming up behind him. But yeah, the end is coming. I'm trying desperately to flame out this Stug to get it to pull back, But they just run out of flamethrower ammunition right before it would have stunned out. So I can't get it to surrender. And with these guys being out of ammunition for the flamethrower, that is basically the end of these guys. The pocket will shortly be gone. And no one actually had anti-tank equipment. So, it's just a matter of time. They throw a satchel charge at it, and it doesn't kill it. It does get it to fall back. And it does surrender. Okay. I was away and didn't realize that thing surrendered after that satchel charge. So I just got 2 more units to surrender. The sheer force of manpower they needed to get me out of here. That was hilarious. It took 5 players to force me out. But my guys show up here and I start advancing. These guys get pinned down by the mobile wagon. The bazooka team tries to take that in the side and fails. Oh, they reestablish connection at some point because someone's going to run across the field. Yeah. Bazooka team causes those guys to bail out. That thing gets destroyed by... I don't know what it was. This thing gets destroyed by that anti-tank gun there. And my bazooka team shows up. I try to have him take the mobile wagon out, but it doesn't work. And then there goes that guy to this. I should have moved all these guys up to like here and there, but no. And useless. That guy dies. This anti-tank gun is firing high explosive at stuff over here. As these guys are suffering some of their final moments. Everybody there is dead. They didn't surrender. They died. And these guys have like no ammunition left, and the Brumbar just kind of finishes them off with a point-blank shot. And now Helmid surrenders. That guy dies now, probably to that gun. And the Pioneers, these things are... These grenades! Freaking hell. I'm also getting fired from these Pioneers, those Pioneers, and the Stug 4 there. Yeah, it didn't end well. So this thing drives out, and I'm pulling back my 76. Because of course I would. I try to get the flamethrowers moving up, with the intention of flamethrowing these guys. My riflemen move into these buildings. Helmid still has troops left in the rear. But because of the pushing on the far left, they're back up to +1 now, but we're so far ahead. The game ends in 7:57, and that's when we win. Eventually, at one point, Rose pulling back the 76 was a bad idea. I've got my bazooka there. Helmid's AI is bringing in these Martyr 2s. Which are neat little units. Neat little units, decent gun. And these guys are advancing across the open because I no longer have my anti-tank gun here, which was stupid. And I'm advancing a Rhino on this side, which is also stupid. And I've got some anti-aircraft guns set up here now because I got tired of all the bombers coming in. And then I end up pulling this one back because there's a Stug and it doesn't like them. So here comes some more troops, which I immediately set on fire. Here come another one, who I immediately also set on fire, but it attracts the attention of the Panzer IV. So I end up having to pull these guys back, but not before I stun the infantry and cause stuff to fall back and surrender. Or die. Mostly die. I use smoke there to cover the retreat of my Bofors, and my 57 mil starts taking out working the Stug over. He can't quite hit the Stug, but well, he can't. Yeah, they can't quite hit each other, but he just knocked out the shooter on that thing. And that half-track just found my Rhino. Sucks for the half-track. And my 75 shows up and kills the Brumbar. The Stug pulls back, and my anti-tank gun takes care of that. And the fighting here continues as I try to maneuver my bazooka into a position to take out that. These things are moving up under the cover of my smoke for the moment, but it doesn't really work out for them. Oh look! That's dead. There's only one of them. Now all my guys are pulling back because the bazooka is mostly out of ammunition. Come on, smoke, clear out. That thing dies. They had a few units die over here. There was a Panzer IV that died, and that was an anti-tank gun that died as they tried to advance down the river. But it didn't really work out in the end. But we got them back to a 50-50 map. They got 208 points, we have 1,242. Thanks to the maneuver I pulled off, which cut all these guys off, and they're all now mostly dead. But now I'm struggling to hold this position against the armor that's advancing on me, and these pioneers, which are... If you have to assault the city, the pioneers are exactly what you want to have. And my rhinos and everything show up over here. And I'm kind of out of infantry by this point. My guys are trying to hold the armor off. Apparently they have, like, grenades or something. Because, like, there's explosions at the Stug, and I don't really know what's causing it. Tried to get the bazooka team in there with their one round, but it just didn't work. And they run away. I've got backup rifles and back here. Still trying to take that thing out. But it's just not working. But I'm forcing that back. They forced my ally back a good deal, so Permanent's been pushed back to here after he got up to here. But I'm still in the city. Sun Yan is launching another attempt to get me out. Helmut is also... His AI is still trying to do stuff. And my rifles are pulling grenades out of their arse. Apparently. Hooray for mortars and stunning all the stuff that's there. The right side is advancing. There you've got this giant salient there. And they're trying to pull in reinforcements. But it's not going overly well for them on the right. The left is... It's there. But most of my fight was here, and everyone starts bringing in bombers. And artillery. I'm using smoke to try to block this guy off. He's killed my rhino. Because of course, it's a Panzer IV with 2 stars of command unit, so for everybody else it's a golden god. But when I try to use it, it's just dead first shot. So hooray. Sun Yan's got a bunch of Panzer Grenadiers here, which are also really good at pushing stuff back. And also most of my guys here are pretty weak now. Oh, my bazooka team's like, we have an opportunity! Boom! Good job. And my napalm guy had a close encounter of the Panzer IV kind, because all my smoke covered his rear and not his front. So there was like my only hope to hold back what's coming. And look at all the firing that's going on now. And these guys are running out of machine gun ammunition very shortly. Firing, firing, firing. Brilliant game, by the way. Very good game. They're pinned down. These guys got pinned down trying to cross the road to get up close. I should have just had them advance this way, but that building's gone, so I couldn't. And I've got these machine guns coming in, the heavy machine guns. And the backup riflemen are coming in. But the bombs hit. Take out my last bazooka team. And my heavy machine gun teams are showing up. But there's too much. There is now just too much. These guys don't actually have machine guns. They're pulling back. Another freaking Sherman dies because, of course, why not? This guy was a golden god the entire time. And so was this guy, but I was scared to move him up for that guy spotting him. I got my heavy machine gun there. The Panzer Grenadiers are right there. I don't know why they stopped there, because that allows almost all my guns to fire, and now they're pinned down. And look, I have rocket planes too. So my lightnings show up and start rocketing them, and this is when my artillery shows up. And I call 2 sets of artillery down. But the game is already over. We're at +1 again. We have almost 1,500 points in our favor. And this would have allowed me to hold the city and start pushing back again with what little infantry I had left. But just before they land, timer runs out. And the battle's over. With my Hail Mary shenanigans, cutting off Helmid and requiring the support from Sun Yin, Herkremano, Orlean, I can't pronounce these people. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. All trying to push me out of the city and failing. 5 people couldn't push me out of the city because I had a command unit in there, which meant that when my guys got surrounded, they still were technically fighting within their lines and had full capability of fighting. And I'm in an urban situation defending it with good flamethrower support and anti-tank support. So I was able to turn the entire match around with that, fighting against 5 people. I like this history thing. We don't need to go through that because it kills the frame rate. I'm at 4 for some reason. It's like, oh look! I don't know if you guys can see this, but 30. 4. Single-digit frame rate looking at the history. Anywhere else, it's like, yeah, 30. Yeah. I'm getting the kills for somebody else. No. Because it just kind of picks some random person, which is a bit annoying. Did it? Yeah, because I don't have Rams. I don't have Piats. I don't have 25 pounders. I don't have any of this stuff, but my losses here are correct. Nope, I don't have a Humbler. Nope, nope, none of this works. All the kills and losses are fogged up. Can I go to team and switch them? Like, click on my name, go to kills. Nope. Replay's a little bit bugged. But oh well. Hope you enjoyed the video. That was a fun battle. When you have assailants like that being pushed deep in the enemy territory, probably isn't anything there. Take advantage of it. Now I'm going to watch a bunch of people do what I did. And then they're going to have to take the maps and rebalance them again. I kind of like that. Like when I broke the giant 10v10 maps in Airlane Battle. That was fun too. See ya.